I wouldn't know what to do. My son get a murder charge. I gotta stop him from crashing out, bro. Like
Boosie's so-called crash-out son is now being accused of trying to take things way too far after Kodak Black dissed his father. What started as online tough talk has allegedly escalated into real threats that have the entire hip-hop world on edge and law enforcement watching closely. Tootie didn't just talk reckless on Instagram. He was allegedly moving around with switches, sawed-off shotguns, machine guns, and silencers. That behavior didn't just bring attention, it brought federal charges, including obstruction of law enforcement. And now, he's reportedly tied to explicit death threats aimed at multiple rappers. This situation is far deeper and more dangerous than it looks on the surface, and we're about to break down exactly how it reached this boiling point, including the messages where Tootie allegedly said he couldn't wait to catch a rapper and shoot him, and how he's been accused of stalking Lil Crick since 2023 while trying to make those threats real. What's good, fam? We're diving into a situation that's shaking the hip-hop community to its core and could end with someone either spending life behind bars or worse. This isn't just rap beef anymore. This is federal-level chaos with real consequences attached. Social media has been buzzing about Boosie's son Tootie allegedly crashing out over a Kodak Black diss. But before anyone jumps to conclusions, we need to separate facts from rumors, because this story has layers most people don't even know about. This all really started heating up in 2023, but the roots go back even further. Kodak Black was offered a reported $1 million to collaborate with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Kodak took the deal, chasing the bag, but that single move set off a chain reaction that's still unfolding today. Federal charges, public threats, and a young man seemingly willing to throw his entire life away. This isn't the kind of beef that fades out after a few diss tracks. We're talking about someone facing serious federal gun charges, possession of machine guns, sawed-off weapons, and silencers, while allegedly making direct threats against well-known rappers while out on bond. That's how situations turn deadly or end in decades-long sentences. Here's where things really get intense. When Kodak agreed to work with Tekashi 6ix9ine, it sent shockwaves through street rap culture. 6ix9ine is widely viewed as one of the most hated figures in hip-hop due to cooperating with federal authorities against his former crew. But the move wasn't random. 6ix9ine was playing chess, not checkers, using established street rappers to prove that money could override loyalty. Kodak later addressed it on Drink Champs, saying straight up that $1 million is $1 million, and whatever happened in someone else's city wasn't his concern. That statement alone poured gasoline on an already burning situation, and the fallout from it is still unfolding in real time.
And all about to do a song with a nigga who, like, I don't even know the niggas he told on.
Went in on
And I ain't even from over there. Niggas some shit like, nigga, that's y'all rap. I know only nigga squeeze this nigga out some cheese, homie.
Yeah.
I know so do some shit like, but y'all ain't finna do nothing. Y'all ain't even squeeze a nigga out some winning.
Real talk, that statement made one thing crystal clear. For some people, morals, street codes, and principles all come with a price tag. And if the number is high enough, those rules suddenly become flexible. But this situation was never just about one song or one big check. It raised a much bigger question. Can street rappers truly separate business from street credibility? Kodak made it clear that when money is involved, street politics don't apply to him. And that mindset split the hip-hop community straight down the middle. From a business perspective, Kodak wasn't completely wrong. The music industry has always prioritized money over loyalty. But when your entire brand is built on being authentic and real, taking a bag from the most infamous snitch in hip-hop history looks like the ultimate sellout move. In street culture, snitching is the unforgivable line. There's no redemption arc, no second chances, and no coming back from that. That's why Boosie's reaction hit differently. He's always been known as someone who speaks out against violations of street code, even when it costs him friendships or money. Boosie reportedly called Kodak's brother directly to confirm whether the song with 6ix9ine was real. When it was confirmed, he said it hurt him personally and that he had no choice but to block Kodak completely. That wasn't anger, that was disappointment. Losing respect for someone you once viewed as solid. Boosie later said the move was detrimental, emphasizing that 6ix9ine is one of the most hated individuals in prison across all races. In his eyes, Kodak made a choice, and now he has to stand on it.
When I first saw it on Instagram, I got up, tried to call Kodak, but he must have had a new number. I called his brother, and I asked him, did Kodak do a song with 6ix9ine? He said, yeah, bro, think so. It fucked me up, it hurt me. He asked me, did I want to talk to Kodak? I told him I ain't want to talk to Kodak, or block Kodak. That was a detrimental move to him, bro. 6ix9ine is the most hated person in prison. By every race, what Kodak did, he's gonna have to stand on it.
In real talk, Boosie wasn't wrong about the cultural impact of Kodak's move. By choosing to work with 6ix9ine, Kodak opened the door for other artists to do the same, slowly weakening the long-standing anti-snitch stance in hip-hop. That decision forced the culture to confront an uncomfortable reality. On one side, you've got the traditional street code. You don't do business with snitches. No exceptions, no excuses, no amount of money makes it okay. On the other side, you've got the modern rap industry, where profit is starting to matter more than principles, and snitching is becoming increasingly tolerated. Kodak's choice sparked a bigger debate about whether street codes are outdated in today's music business. Some people respected his honesty about chasing the bag, while others saw it as selling out everything hip-hop once stood for. That divide laid the groundwork for everything that followed. Fast forward to 2024, and Kodak Black is on a completely different type of timing. Word on the street is he's been deep into substance abuse, and it's clearly affecting his judgment and impulse control. When you mix drugs, unresolved tension, and ego, you get crash-out behavior. That's exactly what happened when Kodak dropped a diss track aimed at Boosie. The timing was grimy. He released it the day before Boosie was scheduled to go to court, clearly trying to add stress and distraction to an already serious situation. In the song, Kodak went straight for Boosie's neck, crossing several personal lines. He suggested Boosie was salty because he couldn't sign him back in the day, implying jealousy and bitterness. He questioned Boosie's status as an OG, attacked his credibility, and painted him as washed up and irrelevant, only getting attention when he mentions Kodak or NBA YoungBoy. Musically, the track wasn't bad, but the message was designed to disrespect Boosie at the worst possible moment. Kodak knew exactly which buttons to push, and he pressed all of them. Boosie wasn't letting that slide. He took to Twitter and unloaded in a series of posts that showed just how hurt and angry he was. He accused Kodak of clout chasing, mocked his drug use, and called out the timing of the diss as cowardly. He went even further, attacking Kodak's relevance, music, appearance, and career. The most brutal moment came when Boosie implied Kodak would be sitting by the phone like a fiend, hoping for bad news about his court case. Then he delivered the ultimate street insult by saying he would never check into protective custody like Kodak allegedly did, questioning his toughness at the highest level. Ending it with CCC, short for clout-chasing crackhead, Boosie made it clear this wasn't just rap banter. This was personal. That's when the situation took a dangerous turn with the involvement of Boosie's son, Tootie. Tootie is already facing serious federal weapons charges, possession of sawed-off firearms, machine guns, silencers, and obstruction of law enforcement. These aren't minor state cases. Federal gun charges come with mandatory minimums that can put someone away for decades. Instead of staying low, hiring lawyers, and focusing on his defense, Tootie jumped headfirst into the beef. He went on social media making direct threats, talking about being ready for war and putting the belt on people, street language that implies killing someone. Making threats like that while out on federal bond is beyond reckless. It's self-destructive. But the deeper issue is that Tootie has been trying to prove his street credibility for years. Many people see him as a privileged celebrity kid, not someone who really lived that life. The comments clowning him, calling him soft, and dismissing him as Boosie's son clearly got under his skin. Things escalated further when Lil Crick, someone connected to Kodak's camp, started mocking Tootie's threats. That's when it became clear this wasn't just about defending his father. Screenshots showed Tootie had been sending Lil Crick threatening messages since 2023, months of harassment escalating into explicit death threats. Some of those messages were chilling, talking about making an example out of a rapper and going viral for it. That's the most dangerous part of this whole situation. Tootie wasn't just talking about defending himself or his family, he was talking about violence as a pathway to fame and respect. That mindset, Wanting to kill someone just to prove a point or gain clout is how lives get destroyed. To understand why Tootie is moving like this, you have to look at the pressure that comes with being a rapper's child. People assume you're soft because you grew up with money and opportunity. Tootie has dealt with that stigma his entire life. At the same time, Boosie did expose him to the street life early, so he's not completely disconnected from that world either. Caught between privilege and street expectations, Tootie looks like a young man spiraling, trying to prove he's real even if it costs him his freedom or his life. And that's what makes this situation so dangerous. This stopped being rap beef a long time ago. This is federal case territory where one bad decision can end careers, families, and lives forever.
Put them phones up, Tootie. Where you from? Put them up. This Tootie Badazz. Tell the camera where you from. Cross the what?
The issue is that Tootie is trying to live up to his father's reputation without truly understanding what it took to earn it. Boosie didn't just talk his way into respect. He went through real hell for it. He did real prison time, lost real friends, and made real sacrifices that permanently changed his life. That reputation was built through pain, consequences, and survival, not social media posts or reckless behavior. Tootie wants the status without the scars, and that disconnect is what's putting him on a dangerous path.
You get older, you be like, bro, like, how the f you 40 years still gotta look over your shoulder, you know, from your past. That's a f***ed up feeling. When you gotta go especially when you go in your seat, you gotta look everywhere over your shoulder. Like, that shit wasn't worth it. The respect you got for anything you did ain't worth you being an older man looking over your motherfucking shoulder.
That's right.
Tootie wants the respect without paying the cost, and that's not how the streets operate. On top of that, Boosie has always tried to shield his kids from the same lifestyle that nearly ruined his own life. But instead of seeing that as love, Tootie takes it as doubt, like his father doesn't believe in him or thinks he's not built for that world. That misunderstanding breeds resentment and only fuels his need to prove himself. From a legal standpoint, Tootie's situation is already extremely serious. He's facing federal weapons charges that could easily carry 10 to 20 years behind bars. Now add the public death threats on top of that, and things get even worse. Prosecutors can and will use those statements to argue that he's a clear danger to the community and deserves the harshest possible sentence. Every Instagram post, every message, every reckless threat becomes evidence. Federal investigators are watching closely, stacking it all together to paint a picture of someone using weapons as tools of intimidation and violence, the exact scenario these federal gun laws were created to prevent.
I wouldn't know what to do, my son get a murder charge. I gotta stop him from crashing out, bro. Like, then it worried me more. All them lit around him clutching, man. You know, easy for something to happen, bro. Like, you have me worried as a daddy, bro.
For anyone not up to speed on federal gun laws, possession of a sawed-off weapon or silencer isn't a minor charge. It comes with mandatory minimum sentences. Add a machine gun charge to that, and you're suddenly looking at the possibility of spending decades behind bars. Now factor in making public death threats while out on bond, and it's almost guaranteed the court will revoke that bond and stack even more charges on top. That's not moving smart. That's self-destruction. This whole situation between Kodak and Boosie, with Tootie inserting himself and escalating it to threats of violence, highlights a much bigger issue in hip-hop culture. We've normalized an environment where young men feel pressured to prove their authenticity through aggression, weapons, and criminal behavior instead of talent, discipline, and real work. The streets are watching, the internet is watching, and the message being sent is dangerous. When the children of celebrities are talking about catching bodies for clout, what kind of example does that set for kids who don't have money, connections, or safety nets? The truth is, there's nothing admirable about throwing your life away for street credibility. Tootie has access to resources, influence, and opportunities most people could only dream of. He could be building businesses, uplifting his community, and creating real generational wealth. Instead, he's chasing the same demons that nearly destroyed his father and risking an even worse outcome. At its core, this isn't just about defending Boosie or proving toughness. It's about a young man with every advantage choosing the most dangerous path because of insecurity, cultural pressure, and a desperate need for validation. What started as a debate over principles, working with a known snitch and what that means for hip-hop, has now morphed into something far more serious, with real threats and real consequences. This goes beyond one family's drama. It speaks to how violence is glorified and how young men are taught that respect must be earned through fear instead of growth. Until that narrative changes, we'll keep watching promising lives crash out for temporary attention. The real question is whether Tootie will learn from his father's past or be forced to learn the hard way through the system. Because if these threats ever turn into action, the outcome could be life sentences or lives lost. And that's not gangster, it's just tragic. What do you think about Tootie's situation and where this is headed? Is this really who he is, or is he just trying to prove himself to people who'll never respect him? Should Boosie step in more, or is Tootie old enough to own the consequences of his choices? And what does all of this say about the way hip-hop culture is shaping young men today?